Welcome back to IAS Next Study, and this is the current affairs series and Decode Ethics to Current Affairs, where we are going to integrate current affairs with the static portion of GS paper 4 ethics. So here in this video, we are going to discuss the current affairs from 27th May to the 2nd June. So let's get into the discussion and let's connect this topic, current affairs and the static portion. The first news article, it is regarding interstate disputes. Interstate disputes, it may be a river water disputes, it may be land related disputes, or it may be some commercial interest or some social issues. So any these kind of disputes. So what we are going to do is we are going to talk about what are the ethical solution for these kind of interstate disputes. How do you handle it? That is the intention here, right? The news article is regarding Mekedatu project. Mekedatu project, this project is constructed, this plan is from the government of Karnataka, and this project, it is one of the tributaries of river Kaveri, right? So Karnataka wants to build this project, but Tamil Nadu is opposing this particular project, and they feel that because of this project, this is going to impact the water flow in the river Kaveri. This is the intention. Tamil Nadu went to the Supreme Court once already, and Supreme Court has rejected Tamil Nadu's petition. Now they've applied for a review petition also, and here Supreme Court again rejected this review petition by Tamil Nadu, and it has told this is a premature. Whatever the arguments or whatever the concerns or contentions of Tamil Nadu that has been mentioned in the petition, they've told that it is premature in nature. This is the news article. But what you have to focus is the dispute between two states. Now we will see interstate disputes. What is the ethical solution? We're not talking about legal solution. We're not talking about social and economic solutions. We're talking about ethical solution. So we are going to restrict our discussion only from the perspective of ethics. So here, the first and foremost ethical solution is that dialogue and the negotiation. The dialogue process. First, we have to sit in the table and we have to start the discussion. We have to find a common place, common space where we can exchange our dialogue process, and we should be ready to negotiate. I should be ready if there is a negotiation going on. If here, if Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, both of them should be ready to let go some of the aspects here. So dialogue, sit together and discuss, and also be ready for the negotiation. This is the first ethical solution. And the next is, see, if I want to find a solution, then I should find you, the opponent or another party, I should feel that you are also equal to me. Then only there is a probability or a chance to find this solution in a very amicable way, in a very friendly manner. Or else what happens if there is a negative values like ego, greed, or some kind of manipulation, or if I have a superiority complex, then it would be very difficult to find a solution. Now we have sit for a discussion, we have we both are on the discussion table and we both are ready for negotiation. But if we don't have this sense of partnership, if I have the feeling of superiority, if I have the negative feel of ego, and if I have this feeling of greed, being greedy, then it would be very difficult to find a solution. So we have to work together in a spirit of partnership. And here there are two states, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Both of them are equally important. One may be geographically bigger, one may be economically bigger, but ultimately both of them, they are equal as a part of this bigger nation. So there should be a spirit of partnership. And the next ethical solution is respect for the constitutional values. Both the parties, there should be a genuine respect for these values. What are these values? Integrity, fraternity, and equality, non-discrimination, republic, brotherhood, impartial. These are some of the values we see in our constitution. This comes under constitutional morality: unbiasedness, being equal, non-discriminatory, sovereign, secular. These are some of the constitutional values. See, while finding a solution, make sure that the entire process should not violate these constitutional values. Constitutional morality should be upheld by both the parties. That is another ethical solution. And see, there are two parties here, A and B, and both of them here it is Tamil Nadu and Karnataka. Here, both these Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, what should be the first priority? First priority is the citizens' interest. Obviously, Tamil Nadu is going to focus on the people from Tamil Nadu and Karnataka from people of Karnataka origin. So here, interest is about regional consideration. Beyond this particular boundary of the state, let us think from a bigger perspective as we all are Indians. The factor of unity and the feature of fraternity here. Here, the citizens' interest, not the geographical location interest, and much more consider another aspect is the political consideration. This also plays very important role in finding solutions. We should keep these political considerations and the regional considerations, and we should try to find a solution. We should beyond all these things, political identity, regional identity, what should be the ultimate focus, what should be the ultimate goal here? The ultimate goal is the citizens interest, ultimate goal is the public interest, ultimate goal is the welfare of the citizen. That should be the criteria, that should be the base. Based on this, you are going for a dialogue, you are going for a negotiation, and because of that, you are supporting constitutional values or constitutional morality. So ultimately, what is the base? It is the welfare of the citizen. It is the interest of citizen. It is not the political interest. It is not the regional interest. It is not economic. Nothing. It is citizens' interest. Then, what is the next ethical solution? We sit for a dialogue. We sit for negotiation, and the sense of partnership, brotherhood, all the thing, everything is fine. But another important value, ethical value, you need to focus is the equality, fairness, non-discriminatory. See, the dialogue process, what it is happening under the spirit of partnership, it is going to give you results only when there is a value of fairness. And the mediation, the negotiation, it has to be impartial. There should not be any bias, there should not be any partiality, there should not be anything unfair in the entire process. Then only you can find a resolution, then only you can find an answer for these kind of disputes. And also in a short term you can find a solution for this issue, but in a long term you can avoid these kind of issues altogether. So impartial mediation for fair resolution. Then comes reasonable. See, these resources, these are natural resources, and this belongs to the country, this belongs to the public. Now, the state of Karnataka and the state of Tamil Nadu, they are handling these natural resources, and the responsibility is under the state. Now, the sharing of these kind of natural resources, there should be a fairness and there should be a reasonable distribution. Of course, there will be some kind of compromises, there will be some kind of acceptance and rejectance. Ultimately, what is the baseline? What is the one thing you're focusing? It is a fairness and it is the reasonable distribution. So it is these are the natural resources that belong to every single individual of the country. Now you are distributing these natural resources are shared resources. When you are distributing these shared resources, what you have to follow, which value should you should focus on, this is being fairness, and through this fairness there is a reasonable distribution, right? And then say in last slide also we talked about no political consideration, it is beyond the geographical or regional consideration, we talked about it. So ultimately we cannot entirely devoid of my identity. If I am a resident of Tamil Nadu or if I am a resident of Karnataka, I have that affiliation. So I cannot altogether uh, uh, keep myself from a larger perspective, and see it's very difficult for every common citizens to connect or see the issue from that perspective. Now what is the solution here? It is the solution lies in the hands of the negotiator, solution lies in the hands of a central government or a state from a larger perspective. Here there are regional aspirations. Now it is a responsibility of this negotiator. There should be a balance between regional aspirations as well as the national integration. Regional, respecting regional aspiration, because regional identity, it is just extension of your larger national identity, it is not something separate. So if I am a part of Tamil Nadu, I am an Indian, and my extended identity is that I am a resident of Tamil Nadu. There is extension of this idea, so you cannot altogether eliminate this regional aspirations. It is impractical from a ground perspective. So national integration, along with that, you should also keep this thing in your mind, that is regional aspiration. So these are some of the ethical solutions you need to focus on to find solution or to deal with interstate water disputes, right? So this is with respect to this news article, Mekedatu project. So next we have news article, judiciary's role in complete justice. Again, I am not going to discuss this. What we are going to focus here is the ethics in judiciary. What are the ethical values we need to focus from a judicial perspective? What are the values that are necessary for judiciary? That's a very simple way of looking at into this article. So what are the values? And also you have this topic in your syllabus also in an indirect way. So ethics, judicial ethics. So ethics in judiciary. The first and foremost, integrity. Integrity is that there is an established law. And you, if I am a judge or if I am a part of this judiciary, my conduct should not go beyond this established law. This is one thing. Another thing, another dimension of integrity is that I have to be honest even nobody is watching. Honesty to the core. So judges must be honest, upright, and free from corruption. One thing, integrity, I have to follow the rules and regulation. Another thing, integrity, I have to be honest. Honest to the what? Honest to the established law, right? Then impartiality, unbiasedness, the neutrality. These are some of the different dimensions of this word impartiality. Impartiality, it leads to equal treatment of all the parties without any prejudice, without any bias, no discrimination, equality. Impartiality leads to equality. Impartiality eliminates discrimination, which will lead to the equality, which will ensure the constitutional value of equality. Then comes justice, of course, the core principle here. So being judiciary and this justice, it upholds the value of fairness, and it ensures that every person, whether you are a small common citizen or you are a son of a prime minister, or even if you are a president of India, so everybody follows the due process of law. Whatever it has been written, it applies to everybody. It applies to anybody who is having a high position in the a powerful position in the country, or a person who is at the lowest strata of a society, or most vulnerable person from a most vulnerable section of the society. Everybody follow the same procedure, justice. So this upholds the fairness. And then accountability. Accountability is that here judicial accountability. It means that whatever the judicial conduct, uh, or in that process, whatever I am following, whatever I follow, me being a judge or me being a part of this judiciary, I am answerable. I am answerable to some other institution, or I am answerable to the people. So that answerability aspect of judiciary is accountability. So answerable for what? Judicial conduct. And also I it is one of the obligations to maintain public confidence also. See, when I maintain this accountability, it is automatically going to ensure the public confidence in the judiciary. Then transparency is that, see, still there are a lot of questions have been asked regarding appointment, transfers, promotions in judiciary. So people question the transparency in judiciary. So this another value needs to be upheld by the judiciary itself. So ensuring openness in the entire judicial process while respecting legal constraints. So transparency is another ethics, another values which is necessary for the judiciary. And then objectivity. Whatever the decisions you take, you have to follow the established law. You cannot take decisions very arbitrarily. You cannot take decision based on your personal beliefs. It is not going to happen. There is no subjectivity. Yes, subjectivity comes in very very rare and vague certain cases, the where some kind of judicial freedom has been given. But in general, for any civil matters, any criminal matters, it is the objectivity. So you have to take a decision based on facts, evidence, and law rather than your personal beliefs. So objectivity is another value which is very much necessary in judiciary. Then comes courage. Then comes courage or fortitude. See, this also matters. Even they can be the judges can be intimidated, or people who work in the entire judiciary system, they can be intimidated. So whenever you work as a part of judiciary, or whenever you are delivering a judgment, even if there is a pressure, even if there is a criticism, you have to come beyond that. You have to showcase that courage, you have to showcase that fortitude. See, there might be public criticism also, there might be public pressure also, there might be political pressure also. You have to come beyond all these things and you have to deliver your uh, judgments. So courage of conviction or fortitude is another value which is very much necessary for judiciary. Sorry for the heading. It is ethics in judiciary. And let me go back. Then diligence is a very careful consideration. Here, performing judicial duties with care, competence and timeliness. And next value is confidentiality. We talked about transparency, where we talked about openness, but transparency wherever it is required. Where exactly transparency is needed? Appointment transfers, promotions, in these kind of processes. Now, where is the confidentiality is required? The cases have not reached a final conclusion. If you don't maintain this confidentiality, it might hurt victims. It might help. It might give some kind of power to handle evidences, manipulate evidences. These things happen. So even maintaining confidentiality is very much important because this safeguards the sensitive information and it helps to maintain the judicial propriety. So wherever transparency is required, you have to be open. You have to transparent. But wherever the confidentiality is required or necessary, you have to uphold this value of confidentiality also. Then comes the value of equality. In the last slide also we talked about being fairness, and this fairness, it means that there is a factor of neutrality, and this neutrality leads to the equality. This equality leads to the justice. There is a chain effect. So here again, ensuring equal access to justice and non-discriminatory treatment. Equality, it means that every individual, there is a constitutional power, there is a fundamental rights have been given to every individual of this country. He can approach judiciary if I think that there is mismanagement or mismanagement of law and order or miscarriage of justice for me. So equal access, even I can go, or a prime minister, the son of a prime minister, everybody is equal in front of the law. Then comes public service. Ultimately, even judiciary also, the ultimate core is that justice, and this justice leads to the welfare. This justice leads to the fulfillment of the public service only. So justice, and it upholds a trust, and that will lead to the social harmony, that will lead to the welfare of the citizen. So these are some of the ethical values that are required in Indian judiciary, or on the whole judiciary, right? Go through with these values: integrity, impartiality, justice, accountability, transparency, objectivity, courage, diligence, confidentiality, equality, and public service. These are some of the ethical solutions. Let's move to the next article. The next article is regarding constitutional duty. The news article is regarding SIR. West Bengal, the opposition party, after the elections, they've approached the Supreme Court. They have questioned this SIR, Special Intensive Revision of Electoral Rules. They've questioned this. They've told that this is unconstitutional, and the ruling party or the central government has misused the authority, misused the power to eliminate or to remove some of the voters from a voter list. This is the their argument against SIR. But finally, the Supreme Court listened both the sides and it has given its verdict. And Supreme Court upholds this process of SIR, and it told that it is one of the duties of Election Commission. It is Elections Commission's constitutional duty. See, this constitutional duty or constitutional morality. There are two times constitutional morality question has been asked in the examination. So another dimension of this constitutional morality is nothing but constitutional duty. So what are we going to focus in this news article? It is constitutional duty. So what are the values ensure constitutional duties? That is what we are going to see. So ethical values embedded in constitutional duty. The first value, patriotism. Patriotism. See, this patriotism, there was a question on this value itself. What is patriotism to you? And how patriotism for a common citizen, how exactly you define patriotism? Somewhere on these lines, question was asked. Usually, patriotism, again, we have a different dimension. For a soldier, patriotism is something, the definition would be different. For a common citizen it is different, for a doctor it is different, for a farmer it is different. So patriotism, even for a soldier, he's ready to sacrifice his life. And when you think of patriotism from a civic sense, if I am patriotic, how do I prove that? By obeying the rules and regulations, by fulfilling my the rights of a citizen. I have to vote in an election, I have to pay my taxes. These are some of the rights and obligations on me, and I have to fulfill these are aspect of patriotism from a civil sense. Likewise, patriotism from essential services perspective. For a doctor, patriotism, it means that you should be ready to give services for the needed. So it differs. The dimension changes from one aspect to another aspect. So the one important first ethical value that is embedded in constitutional duties, patriotism. Patriotism, it ensures that there is a love and commitment towards the nation. Then unity and integrity. This is a diverse nation, different languages, and every 100 kilometers you follow, the food habits differ, the dressing sense changes, and there is a change in dialect of the language also. So a huge diversity is there in our country, and unity is one among the constitutional morality, constitutional values. This unity, it encourages collective responsibility. This collective responsibility and unity ensures social harmony. Social harmony ensures national cohesion. So this is second value. Then responsibility. Responsibility, I have my responsibility. Being a citizen, I have certain responsibility. Being, if I am a public servant, I have certain responsibility. So here, responsibility, it ensures accountability and being responsible. So this is one among the constitutional duty, responsibility. As a citizen, I have certain responsibility. As a public servant, I have certain responsibility. Citizens, I have to obey the law. This is my constitutional responsibility. This is my legal responsibility. And me being a civil servant, my responsibility is welfare of the public. So I have to fulfill under the legal obligation to uphold or to make sure welfare of the citizen. I'm working for the welfare of the citizen. So legal responsibility, ethical responsibility, constitutional responsibility. Then comes promoting harmony and brotherhood. Diversity is there. Uh, Religious diversity, linguistic diversity, geographical diversity. These diversities we see predominantly in our country, and one of the constitutional duty is to have that oneness, have that social cohesion, have that social harmony. The social harmony will lead to the national harmony. So promoting harmony, inclusiveness, tolerance is also some of the values of constitutional duty. Then comes encourage and inclusiveness. We just had a discussion. Encourage inclusiveness, being inclusive or being a sense of belonging, sense of brotherhood, fraternity. Uh, See, these are the values. These are all ethical values embedded in constitutional values. And then upholds dignity, equality, respect of every individual of the country, whether rich, poor, educated, uneducated, it does not matter. You have to uphold the human rights of every citizen. You have to uphold the dignity and equality, dignity and respect of every individual of the country. Then social harmony, we just had a discussion in the last slide also. The social harmony leads to the national cohesion. So the sense of belonging, social harmony, this promotes the fraternity, the sense of brotherhood. This leads to the tolerance. This leads to the peaceful coexistence. There is a diverse country, different religion, different language, and the geographical distinctions are there. So social harmony is this is the core. At the lower level, if there is a social harmony, this will lead to the peaceful coexistence of a country. Then scientific temper. Scientific temper is one of the values that is mentioned in the DPSP, also in the fundamental duties, one among the duties. So this scientific temper, this not, it is nothing but rationality and critical thinking. You are going to question if there is something wrong. So this is going to encourage rationality and the critical thinking. Then comes excellence. Excellence in every sphere of life. So striving for excellence in every sphere of life and collective activity. We are going to give the best. We are going to keep our best foot ahead to deal with this any of the crisis or any of the issues we follow. So excellence. Then respect for heritage. Respect for heritage, it means that this ensures cultural responsibility. This ensures cultural pride of my country. So these are some of the constitutional values, ethical values that are embedded in constitutional duty, or some, you can say these are values of our constitutional morality, right? These are some of the values. Next, the next news article, it is with respect to social media restriction. What is the news article? Government has taken a decision to ban the profile account of Cockroach Janata Party. So in the Twitter, in the X, government has taken a decision, and case has been filed in the Delhi High Court, and Delhi High Court rejected to lift the ban on this Twitter account Cockroach Janata Party. This is the news here. Now let's focus from broader perspective social media restriction. What is that social media restrictions, and what are ethical issues in the social media restrictions? So, what are the ethical issues of social media restriction? See, one side, freedom of expression. I am a citizen of this country, and my constitution has given me right to question, and I can express my thoughts in a very free manner. Freedom of expression. At the same time, state control. State also has responsibility. Responsibility, it means that if any if any online content it is creating harm to the public, then state can take action against this control. So state has that power to control content which is harm for the public. At the same time, see, there is one post I have made a post, and from my perspective it is my freedom of expression, and I'm talking about this particular political maybe situation in the country, so I am expressing my freedom of expression. But at the same time, state thinks that I am inciting the younger public, I'm inciting the people of this country, and they consider my post is harmful content, and state is taking control over my content. So dilemma is there, freedom of expression versus state control. This is one ethical issue. Another ethical issue is, see, many a times government has taken a decision to ban the Twitter account, to ban Instagram and Facebook account. We have seen a number of the profiles have been disabled. Now the thing is, it's very rare we get the reason behind this these kind of restrictions or these kind of removal of accounts. See, it clearly shows that lack of transparency. Government has taken a decision to remove a particular account from an Instagram, but government is not giving the reasons behind it. One standard format is that this goes against the public, this threat to a national integrity, and see, these kind of vague terminologies have been given, but no clear explanation has been uh, told to the public. So there is a clear trust deficit, there's clear transparency deficit. And the next ethical issue is that we all have democratic rights in our country, and here one of my democratic rights is to raise my voice using an online platform. Here I am expressing my point of view through an online social platform. Here, by blocking my social media account, what exactly it is happening, you are restricting civil participation. You're restricting, democracy has given me rights, constitution has given me certain democratic rights. You are restricting my democratic rights. So restricting civic participation, it is restricting the domestic rights of the public. This is another ethical issue. Then ethical governance. See, usually the restrictions government, see, I have a Twitter account and I am posting regularly, and I've made around in that 1,000 tweets. Out of this, only one tweet where government is not happy about. See, rather than removing this one tweet, what government does is it blocks my. So there is no proportionality. 999 tweets, they are fine, they are good, and th- there are some, these tweets are helpful to the people. But since I made one wrong tweet, government has taken a decision to ban my Twitter account. How fair it is? Proportionality. Here it is. See, they could have told me, or they could have taken a step to remove this particular tweet, but they did not do it. They removed my account. So ethical governance, it it goes against the concept of ethical governance. It means that there is a factor of proportionality. What you're doing is complete elimination, and this goes against the principle of proportionality, and this goes against the ethical governance. This is another ethical issue. And then institutions, whether it is government institutions who have this authority and power, like a cyber crime department. See, these kind of institution, they should maintain the value of impartiality, they should maintain the value of neutrality, they should maintain the value of unbiased. So institutions, especially public institutions, they must maintain the value of impartiality. This is another need. This is a need. Then fair balance between collective security and individual freedom. The first point we talked about, freedom of expression versus responsibility of a state. Now, how do you deal with this dilemma? How do you find a solution? By balancing. How do you balance? If there is a value of fairness, you implement this value of fairness in your decision making. One side collective security, state control, another side freedom of expression, individual freedom. So balance this by using the value of fair, right? These are some of the ethical issues we can see in the social media restriction. That is what happening, especially with respect to this news article. Let's move to the next news article. The next article, it is regarding fair electoral processes. What is the news article here? Fair electoral rules lead to fair elections. So electoral rules should be fair. This is with respect to SIR only. SIR we just had a discussion. So SIR deals with the fair electoral rules, and this fair electoral rules, it is nothing but fair elections. Now, let's see the values involved in this fair electoral process. So, what are the ethical aspects of fair electoral process? The first value which is required is honesty or integrity. See, when there is honesty, when there is an integrity, there will not be any manipulation in the electoral process. There will not be any malpractice also. Integrity, it means that you follow the rules and regulation. Honesty, being honest, even if nobody is watching. So, honest electoral process without any manipulation, without any malpractice. This is the one ethical aspect. The next ethical aspect is the ethical aspect, that we can see under fair electoral process, the transparency in the entire electoral process, beginning very precisely the funding, where exactly political parties or the candidates get the fund, from initial stages of funding to the vote counting, the entire journey. Make sure that there is a fair electoral process. Then comes equal opportunities to compete, the value of fairness. Equal opportunities to compete. See, anybody can become a prime minister of this country. This is from a legal perspective. Legally, anybody can contest elections, anybody can win the elections, anybody can become a prime minister of the country. There is no criteria for prime minister. There is a age, all these things, constitutional criteria are there. Beyond that, everybody is equally eligible to become a prime minister of the country. See, any legal on paper it is fine, in reality, in practical, it is not possible, but at least at the paper, in the paper, we have anybody can become a prime minister of the country. So this ensures the value of fairness. It means that everybody has a equal opportunity, whether to compete in an election, whether to participate in an election, whether to cast a vote in election. There is an equal opportunities for every being individual. It is nothing but being fair. Fairness is a value here. And electoral institutions should remain neutral, non-partiality, non-discriminatory. This is very much important because we have model code of conduct. So even to implement, the institutions should be unbiased, should maintain that neutrality. So electoral institutions like state election commissions, central election commissions, they should maintain this neutrality. They should ensure all uh, the values that are imbibed or implemented in model code of conduct. Then respect for democratic rights, democratic right, participation in the election, participation, voting process, or campaigning for somebody else, or even nota, not none of the above. Everything comes under the democratic right, and there should be a respect for every single democratic right of every single individual. Even person belong to the extreme minority community, person belong to the extreme vulnerable sections of the society, right? Then candidates should avoid hate speech and divisive campaigns. This is also very much important. This is happening a lot these days, especially the anonymity given by the online platforms. These kind of divisive campaigns are increasing because of this social media easy manipulative there is a probability you can easily manipulate your identity, and because of that you can easily instigate these kind of divisive campaigns. So eliminating these kind of hate speech divisive campaigns ensure fair electoral process. And finally, I think this is the last article. The article is regarding building collapse in Saket in Delhi, New Delhi, and it led to the six dead. And residents, they are telling that this is due to the negligence. This is a news article, but what we are going to see is we are going to see from a case study perspective. There is a building collapse and there is a humanitarian crisis, and how do you handle it, and what are the ethical solutions to handle these kind of humanitarian crises. So let's see the ethical response for the building collapse. This is an emergency, and how do you ethically respond to it? So first and foremost, any of these kind of emergency, any of these kind of humanitarian crisis, first and foremost aspect is you have to prioritize the lives. You have to save as many lives as possible. So immediate search, you can launch immediate search, immediate rescue, immediate evacuation operations. By doing that, you are saving the lives of the people. Then another important here, it is respecting human rights, respecting dignity of an individual, human life, human rights, dignity. Then next value is cooperation and coordination. See, cooperation between different agencies, disaster management agencies, local administration, hospitals, and also people voluntarily, they should also cooperate with these agencies. The next value is cooperation and coordination. Then comes emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence here, see, you have to talk to the victims, you have to talk to the family of victims, you have to talk to the public here. If you don't have this emotional intelligence, eh, things might get uh, see, by wrong communication or miscommunication, this is going to, these kind of miscommunication, wrong communication can make the situation much complex. So if you are emotionally intelligent, you can provide emotional support to the victims, you can provide emotional support to the affected families. So the next important ethical response is that being emotionally aware, being emotionally intelligent, to understand your emotion, to understand other emotion, and to handle the situation. Then if you are emotionally intelligent, you can avoid misinformation, concealment of facts, manipulation of facts. Don't do that. Again, this is going to create more speculations, more rumors, and more public anger. So don't do that. Don't involve. If neither you involve in manipulation or misinformation, nor don't let anybody involve in misinformation or manipulation. If somebody, if these kind of misinformations are already there, then it is responsibility of a management to give proper clarifications on that. Then comes uh, conduct impartial inquiry to identify the causes. In a short term, yes, you have to find the solution, and in a long term, also, you have to take a different step. Long term, you create the deterrence. You, if there is a negligence, you create a deterrence and make sure that in future these kind of negligence or these kind of taken for granted, this activity is not permitted anywhere, and ensure everything is processed, everything follow a due process of law. And also give assistance, make sure that assistance reach every affected individual without any discrimination. So these are some of the ethical response for these kind of humanitarian crises. You can alter it and write, you can write it to the stampede, or you can write it to any other disaster where this is very general. I know that very general points have been mentioned here, and on the whole these points you can reiterate for any kind of humanitarian crisis. You can add few specific points based on this, whether it is take an example of cyclone disaster, take an example of flood, take an example of avalanche, take an example of a stampede in a religious place. Even during the IPL, this kind of humanitarian crisis has been created in Bangalore. So these kind of, when there is a humanitarian crisis, when there is an emergency response required, use this as a fodder material for your answer. Right? There's one more article. Uh, this this editorial, and here orbital rivalry. This is with regarding to China's main here is that China's space power, it is creating issue for the other countries. This is what the news article is talking about. Let's not let's not get into this discussion of this editorial. Let's focus on the space ethics. What are the values and ethical considerations which are necessary in the space sector? So humanity is expanding, and now the expansion of humanity not only restricted to this planet Earth, even it is going beyond. Even the expansion has reached the space also. So ethical consideration is very much responsible. It's very much essential at this point of time to ensure there is a responsible and peaceful use of space resources. You cannot restrict it, but make sure that usage is peaceful. Usage is, there is an accountability factor. There is a responsibility. So what are the space ethics? Let me talk about 6 points. You can add more points if you want. 6 points here. One thing, the entire space aspect, use it for the entire space ethics. What it tells is that you are involved in the outer space exploration, you are involved in satellite launch, all these things, but make sure that entire activity it is for peaceful purposes. No violence is supported under space. It's only for peaceful purpose. Then see, if you are going for a scientific advancement, be open hearted. So let's coordinate with other countries there. Let there be collaborative effort. If there is a intention for a scientific development, and eventually if there is a collaboration and coordination, there is a common benefit to all the countries around the world. Especially see, the developed countries, they can go for all these space research, space exploration. What about the underdeveloped, the global south? It is very difficult financially, it is not viable for these countries when already they are facing a lot of economic issues within their borders. So for them it is very difficult. So what is the solution here? There should be a collaborative approach from between developed, underdeveloped, and developing countries. And whatever the scientific advancement, make sure that there is a collective benefit for everybody. This is the second space ethics. Second point under the space ethics. And then comes responsibility. Take that accountability, take that responsibility for various space aspects. One of the example is space debris. Space debris is nothing but the space waste. See, you have sent a satellite or some rocket for the outer space. Now you have certain target, your target has been reached, and even maybe you wanted that particular satellite to be there in the space for 5 years. Now it is done. Now what do? It become a space waste. If all the countries start doing this, then this is going to create a lot of problem in the outer space. In future, if you want to go for a space exploration, these space debris are going to create the problem. And you cannot take your hands off saying that I am not responsible for that country, sorry, I'm not responsible for this space debris. Every country is responsible for that, and you take your hands off. See, this is irresponsible behavior. So there should be a responsibility from every country who is involved in these kind of space exploration. The third space ethics is that responsible behavior, responsible management, and being accountable to minimize negative effect like space debris, to minimize these kind of negative effects. Then intergenerational responsibility. It means that you're not overutilizing, or you're not uh, reaching to the saturation level using all the resources. No, don't do that. Leave space for the future generation also. So intergeneration responsibility for future generation. This is another ethical space ethics. And then whatever the benefits you get, share with other countries also. So the collective benefit sharing, the same in a different dimension with respect to the second point. And then if you are involved in extraction of minerals, this is also a concept where the outer space mining, these kind of concepts have also been evolved out. The space tourism, these kind of concepts, they are entering in even in the private sector. If there is a extraction, these kind of mining, space tourism is there, you should, everything should be ethical. Ethical extraction, or if you're using the extraterritorial resources, there should be ethical way of extracting these territorial resources, and there should not be any monopolization or managing or manipulating these space. So these are some of the points you need to focus with respect to space resources. These are the space ethics. This is it for the day, guys, and sorry for the lot of noise here. And I think this would be sufficient. I'll see you guys in the next video. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and have a good day.